Hi, this is Jean Norris. Today we're going to be talking about Erickson's theory of psychosocial development. Erickson did not receive a formal education, but he did receive 2 diplomas in Vienna and from the Montessori school. He struggled a lot with his own development of identity, which probably had a lot to do with his theory. The reasons for his struggle were his unknown father. His mother had a interesting time with his conception. He doesn't know a whole lot about his biological father. He was adopted by his stepfather. He lived in several different countries, eventually ending up in the U.S. He had several name changes. When he was adopted, he changed his name, and he changed his name when he came to the U.S. So he had at least 3 surnames in his life. He was strongly influenced by Freud. He met him through Freud's daughter. And Erickson likes to think of his work as an extension of Freud's infantile development stages. But Erickson's theory encompasses the whole entire life of an individual, whereas Freud's basically stated that what they developed as infants carried on through their entire lives. Erickson's theory talks about human development occurring in stages, which we'll talk about in a moment. He had 8 stages, beginning with birth and ending in death. In each of these stages, there's a challenge or a crisis that has to be dealt with, and how we deal with that challenge or crisis either leads us to grow in that developmental stage or fail. The theory centers largely on the identity of one's ego, and the stages go across the entire lifespan, so he theorizes that we never truly stop developing. Erickson also states that society plays a role in the development of our personalities. We have the ability to choose our own path throughout based on the decisions we make in each stage. Here are the 8 stages in their entirety. We will talk about each one individually. Stage 1, this is the hope stage during infancy. So this is from birth up until about 2 years of age. And this is basic trust or mistrust. So if the infant's needs are being met, then they are likely to develop trust. If they're not being met, they're likely to develop mistrust. The most important person or influence in a child's life at this time is their mother. Stage 2 is will. This is early childhood or toddler age 2 to 4. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. Children have to learn a sense of independence. They have to be allowed to try things on their own. And this builds confidence in their abilities. The main people in their lives at this point is their parents. What Erickson states in this stage is that if we are not allowing children to attempt to do things on their own, like get dressed and feed themselves and things like that, then we're not allowing them to build confidence in their abilities. Age 3 is where we start to develop a feeling of purpose. This is preschool age, 3 to 4 years old. Initiative versus guilt, and this is where children really begin to test their boundaries. And depending on their successes or failures, this is where they start becoming leaders or followers. The main influence in their life at this point is their family. Stage 4, competence. This is school age 5 to 12. Industry versus inferiority. This is where children begin to develop a sense of pride for their accomplishments and abilities, or a sense of inferiority when they are not excelling as their classmates are. And the classmates are the most important and influential people in their lives at this stage. Stage 5, fidelity. This is adolescence, age 13 through 19. Identity versus role confusion. And Erickson coined the term identity crisis. And this is where adolescence and almost overlapping into young adulthood, when children are starting to drive, graduate from high school, move out and live on their own. And so they are definitely further exploring their personal needs and their sense of self, and their peers are the most influential people in their lives at this stage. Stage 6 is love. This is young adult, age 20 to 39. Intimacy versus isolation. A person must be able to form enduring, lasting, meaningful relationships at this point. This is the age where most individuals are getting married or finding their lifelong partners. They are having children, which is also a lifelong relationship. So friends, whether that be a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, friends are the most important and most influential person in the lives of a young adult. Age 7, care. This is adulthood, age 40 to 65. Generativity versus stagnation. A sense of pride in accomplishments is important. This is where people have started their careers and they have started their families, and they're probably still active in those stages, but they're still starting to take a look at their lives, a look at their accomplishments, and the most important people in the lives at this stage are the people we work with, our workmates. The last stage, stage 8, this is where we develop wisdom. This is adulthood from 65 until death. This is ego integrity versus despair. This is where people look back on everything that they have accomplished in their lives. They're no longer working. They most likely no longer have children at home, but they probably have grandchildren. People who have not had grandchildren, not accomplished what they wanted to in their careers, or never got married, things like that, they're going to feel a lot of regret. And this is the last stage, so they're going to feel that regret for the rest of their lives. If they had a fulfilling life and they had a successful career and they had a big family, then they're going to feel pride in their accomplishments. And the most important part of society here at this stage is mankind. This is everyone around us. So have you seen through the 8 stages, the mother is the most important person in their life. In the first stage, when they get to stage 8, it's all of mankind. So they start out in such a small little bubble, and then we move out as we branch out into society, and all those people and all of the things that we come in contact with shape our personality. For class discussion, number 1, are there certain stages that are more or less important than others, and if so, why? Could people have the same social experiences but develop differently? How do you move to the next stage? This is something that Erickson didn't really clearly cover. He talks about moving to the next stage, but there's no clear-cut thing that has to happen to move from one stage to the next. So I'm interested to see what you guys think that might look like. As an educator, how can learning about Erickson's 8 stages help you in the classroom? Please feel free to answer any of these questions in my blog, and if you have any questions for me, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.